He's got Armia with him. He shoots. He scores.
In front, Carson scores!
And strike three. Dodgers have won it all in 2020.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 1 of Pucks and Pine Tar. I'm Blake Frazier alongside my co-host Seth Hagen. Seth, today is going to be a big one. We're going to do some MLB predictions, kind of who's in the playoffs, who's not, our MLB MVP picks or Cy Young picks. But first, let's talk about some hockey here, Seth. I see you got a North Dakota jersey hanging over your right shoulder. They had a tough loss over the weekend.
Basically tough 2 losses because they played about 8 or 9 periods. So
Yeah.
yes, I hung the jersey up in sort of effigy and as a tribute to a great season with great moments that ended in one of the craziest college hockey games we've seen in our lifetimes.
Yeah, I turned it on. I turned it on in the third period, and they're down 2-0. And I was like, we'll see what happens. They come back. They ended up scoring 2 goals the last 2 minutes of regulation. Kawaguchi tied it up with 55 seconds to go, and it was just a crazy turn of events. Like, you think UMD scores, and then it's offside, and then it's no goal, and there's like a wave of emotions for both sides, for fans and stuff. So, crazy game. UMD ends up winning in 5 overtimes. So they go to the Frozen Four. So it's Mankato, Minnesota State, St. Cloud State, UMD, and UMass in the Frozen Four. So three Minnesota teams representing the Frozen Four. So be interested to see who comes out on that. It goes in a couple weeks in Pittsburgh. Let's talk about the Buffalo Sabres shifting over to the NHL. This team has now lost 17 straight games. They're starting to trade off some pieces. They traded Eric Stahl to the Montreal Canadiens for a couple picks. I'd imagine Taylor Hall is going to be out the door. What is going on in Buffalo, man?
Well, as Taylor Hall said when he was asked about his waiving a no-trade clause, he said, yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
The thing that makes me really not sad, because it's just sports, it shouldn't affect my day-to-day. The town of Buffalo deserves an amazing hockey squad. The way they support any team, the way they supported the Blue Jays, the way they supported, obviously, Bills Mafia. This team deserves a squad. And the Sabres, I mean, one of the best jerseys in the league, I think. They have the players. I mean, how many number 1 picks are actually on that team? 7, 8, or 9?
Yeah.
That they've got from other teams, and for them to underperform, the city of Buffalo deserves better. The NHL in general is better when the Buffalo Sabres are good. You know, there's certain teams when San Jose is good, it doesn't really do anything for the league because it's San Jose, or it's the Florida Panthers are really good this year too, but that doesn't do anything for the league.
Yeah.
Buffalo being good does something for the league.
Right.
You know, it just adds to the rivalries in that region, that Northeast regions. It's clustered with all these teams. And so when Buffalo's on, not on top necessarily, but when they're competing, it's so much better for the league.
So what do you think Buffalo needs to do? Like, they've already tore down and rebuilt a few times. I mean, they got Jack Eichel. They got a few good pieces there. Like, what does this team need?
There is only, like you said, they've tore down, they've rebuilt. That's the only thing you can do. It's nothing you can do besides retry. I mean, you have to throw. It's one of my favorite sayings. You have to throw anything at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah.
If trading Eichel is what sticks, then do it.
Ooh.
I mean, it's been, has he been there for 8 years? More?
Yeah, I think. Well, I want to say he got drafted with McDavid, so 2015.
Yeah, so 7.
7 years, yeah.
7 years. I think 7 years is a good enough sample size to say, hey, he's a great player. He can work anywhere else, but 7 years is enough time to say this wasn't it.
Here's the thing, though, Seth. He signed a massive 8-year extension for $10 million, and we're in a flat cap world for the next 3 years minimum, right? I mean, outside of the Colorado Avalanche and the LA Kings, there's not many teams that can take on that contract.
So this is why one of the reasons why I did look forward to doing the podcast with you, because you're the money man, you're the cap friendly man.
Yeah.
And I love that about you. I don't care if it hamstrings my team for 10 years. If I get a cup out of it, pay whatever money you can, make it work. Eichel he's not McDavid, but he's definitely the piece,
He's a tier below. He's a tier below.
Yeah. And so I always say, if my team mortgages the future of 15 years of bad contracts and I still get a cup out of it, I don't care.
Right.
Cups are so rare. There's teams that have never won one in over 50 years.
Whoa, watch it.
But for what you would take one cup, bad contracts or not, whether it's, I like you because you're the money man, but I'm the heart of a team supporter where I don't care. I just want a championship.
Right. Yeah, I'm kind of getting that for the Canucks too.
Could you imagine a championship? Could you imagine a championship parade in Buffalo?
Yeah, it would be crazy. Like before we wrap up here, Buffalo's fans are crazy. I mean, back in 2006 when they had Miller and Vanek and Pominville and Chris Drury when they went on that run, right? And I think they lost to the Ottawa Senators back in Ray Emery's days. Rest in peace. Let's hop over to a very scary injury that occurred last night. Aaron Ekblad got tangled up in the corner with the Dallas Star. Forget who it was. So pardon me about that. He ends up just twisting his knee. His leg kind of buckled underneath him, and he was in a lot of pain. Had to get taken off on a stretcher. A guy that was having an unbelievable season for the Florida Panthers, and he's going to be out for the year most likely.
Yeah, I did see the injury. It wasn't exactly like one of those nasty turn your head away type injuries, but it definitely, hockey's a sport where there's no out of bounds. There's boards there. It's something that is unfortunate. He gave away for the crowd. I do know. Yeah. Whether it's his knee, I didn't look this morning, I guess. But it's just a big blow to the NHL. It's a guy that was playing well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looked like a ACL injury for me. I don't think he would have broke his leg because just the way he landed, it looked like more of a knee injury. Let's hop over to the NHL trade deadline, right? We're not going to talk about players, but let's talk about the country of Canada changing the quarantine from 14 days to 7 days for players that belong to USA teams, right? South of the border. This is big. This is big for teams like the Toronto Maple Leafs or the teams like the Calgary Flames who need to shake up and try to get things going in the right direction. Do you like that they changed it to 7 days? And what's your thoughts on that?
So first, my initial thoughts are whoever is lobbying for the NHL, the Canadian government definitely deserves a raise.
Yeah.
They need to be looked at for future leadership positions in other organizations because it's been a big deal. Yeah. Canada, this whole pandemic has been steadfast that they are not about changing it. They are about the seriousness of the virus. Good for them. Whether it has worked out is up for debate.
Right.
Cases still rising, even though there's supposed to be a border closure. I don't know how that happens, but
right.
Whoever did lobby the government to get these 7 days, hockey talks, money talks.
Yep.
It definitely has helped already with Montreal making a move.
Yep.
For a player that's been playing in America.
Yep.
It helps even, these college seasons are ending. These college guys like Cole
college
Caulfield.
Free agent. Yep.
Yeah, like Cole Caulfield. He's Montreal, I believe. Another Montreal guy.
Yep.
He's already left. Him going there and getting NHL experience and not sitting on his hands and knees for 14 days is great. Him only having to stay in a hotel for 2 or 3 days for some negative tests. I don't know if NHL players get a special hotel or if they're staying in the same one all the other travelers are, but that's huge. Missing 14 days of a skate.
Yeah, that sucks.
Not great.
Look what Pierre-Luc Dubois decided to go through, right? He came over for Columbus. He had to quarantine for 2 weeks, and then he ended up getting hurt right when he came back because, no hockey activity for 2 weeks. Definitely not good. Let's talk about Kirby Dach. Kirby Dach, Chicago Blackhawks phenom. Great player for them. He just returned a couple games ago for them. He broke his wrist in the World Juniors back in December. And he's a big part of that offense. And how do you feel to have him back as a Blackhawks fan?
So I think the timing is perfect. Blackhawks are done playing the lower teams. The under the teams below them. They're kind of done with the Red Wings are done. They're getting into a part of the schedule that's harder.
Yeah.
They're in the Florida swing, the Tampa Bay to I don't even know what town the Panthers technically play in, Sunrise, Florida.
Sunrise, yeah.
Yeah, they're in their Florida swing. So he's definitely there at the right time to help them. But when I look at a Blackhawks game, it all comes down to who's in net for me.
Yep.
Lincoln got his second career shutout the other night. He didn't fare so well the second of that series, but that dude matters to me in the goal.
Rumor has that you're a big Malcolm Subban fan, no?
I'm not a big Malcolm Subban fan, but as far as NHL backups go, it doesn't upset me.
Right.
When he starts, he needs to start. Obviously, Lankinen, he's a rookie. He's older. He's a 28-year-old rookie, I believe.
Yeah.
But he's still a rookie nonetheless. So Subban has a little NHL experience to help him along. It's been actually a pretty nice surprise in that. I know in the offseason, the big on the Blackhawks podcasts or articles you read on The Athletic, it was very like, we don't know. Goalie's going to be a disaster.
Yeah.
It hasn't.
I got to ask you a question. So Corey Crawford recently just retired. Out
in New Jersey, right?
As out of New Jersey. He didn't play a game for them. He signed a 2-year deal with them in the offseason, but retired before the season. You being a Blackhawks fan, what has Corey Crawford meant to you? And do you think he's a little underappreciated in that market?
So I do think he was underappreciated in that market, but I don't think it's for his hockey on-ice performance. He had a little off-ice stuff. He was oft injured. He fell down some stairs. That really didn't help him. But obviously you win a cup, you win another cup. The guy, when he was on the ice, was maybe one of the best goalies in the league for that stretch, that 5 to 7 year stretch.
Right.
I like him. I respect him. But as far as being underrated, overrated, I think he kind of didn't help his case with injuries, with, some of the things he said, the way he acted towards the media a little bit. But I'm not a media member, so I loved him.
Yeah, yep. Let's talk about a young goaltender, Carter Hart. Very, very struggling right now. He's got a goals against over 4. Save percentage is in the 860s. He actually just been benched by Alain Vigneault for a couple games, and Vigneault said he needs to work harder. Philadelphia, on my other podcast, I picked him to go to the Cup Finals. So we'll see how that works out. Carter Hart's definitely a huge part of that team. He's I think he's 23 years old, 22 years old. The keys are handed to him. What do you think of Vigneault's decision to bench him for a couple games?
So first off, your pick of Philadelphia, they still got some studs on that. They got time, and they got studs on that team. They can score with anybody.
Right.
I don't know what it is with Philadelphia in the young players. This happened to Gostisbehere a few years ago.
Yep.
That obviously different head coach, but it is the market. That Philly market is tough. That Philly market demands results. Just ask Carson Wentz about the Philly market. But the same thing happened with Gostisbehere a few years ago when Hackstall was the coach. I believe he got benched, healthy scratch too. And now this year, if you watch a Phillies game, you see Gostisbehere, you notice him, and he's actually can be trusted more. He's actually having a better year than most people think if you watch. I think the same thing's going to happen. These younger kids in Philly just need a mental break. They need some type of pat on the shoulder a little bit and just, hey, bud, sit out here, watch. There's no fans in the stands right now in Philly, I don't think. So it's not like he's getting hounded, booed.
Right.
So it can be fixed easier, I think, with less fans in the building, calling for you to get pulled, whatever. So I don't find it alarming yet. I still think Carter Hart's got a bright future. So I would, as a Phillies fan, I wouldn't be worried if I was a Flyers fan.
It's nice to have definitely a security blanket like Brian Elliott back there, good veteran guy to give Carter Hart a break. I'll wrap it up for our NHL talk. Now let's shift over to what the bulk of the podcast is going to be, our MLB predictions. We're going to do the AL West, NL West, AL East, NL East, and both Central divisions, 1 to 5, where they're going to finish. We're going to give the listeners our MVP picks, our top 3 Cy Young picks, and then we'll pick a winner out of there. And maybe give a sleeper for a Cy Young, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Let's start in the AL West. In the cellar of the AL West, I got the Texas Rangers.
So I'm glad you started with the West. Most baseball people I know are East guys, so let's start out West. I live out West now, West Coast time, real early. Yeah, I love it. Our predictions, I feel we talked about earlier, are going to be pretty similar. Baseball as a sport is more predictable than the others. Right. I got the Rangers 5th too, and I got them finishing as the worst team in the league.
Yeah, too. I got if I was to pick a worst, I don't know if they're worse than Pittsburgh. I don't know if Texas is that bad, but they're close. They're close.
It's close.
Texas added a lot this offseason, but they added a lot of names, not impact players. They added let me just take a look here. I mean, they added David Dahl, Brock Holt, Dane Dunning, who they got for Lance Lynn. They brought in Chris Davis for Elvis Andrews in a trade. So they added Fulton Evich, but they added a lot of just depth guys. Not much impact bats, right? So I got them finishing 5th. You got them finishing 5th. Who do you got in 4th?
My local team. I got the Mariners.
Yeah,
I think once again, bottom of the AL. Are there some bright spots? Or I think there's more bright spots in Seattle than there is in Texas, but not as much. So I have them 4th.
Yeah, I got the Seattle Mariners in 4th too, but man, this team is going to be good. They selected the contract of Alan Trammell. He made the team out of camp. He's probably going to start in left field for them, which will be a nice bright spot. I mean, they brought back James Paxton to kind of shore up that rotation. But man, you look at this lineup. I mean, you got White over at first. I mean, you still got Seager. That outfield could be disgusting. I mean, you got Moore. You're going to have Kyle Lewis. You're going to have Trammell out there too. Mitch Haniger's still out there too. So the bullpen kind of frightens me. I mean, that's where I think they're going to lose a lot of games because I do think they're going to score a lot of runs in the West, but their pitching is just not good enough to keep pace in a top-heavy division. Let's go over to number 3 here. I got Houston. I got Houston 3. It's really a toss-up. I mean, this division, honestly, is probably the most wide-open division up for grabs out of all of them. I mean, Oakland, LA, or Houston could easily win this division. I just my gut goes with Houston at 3, just because this is probably the last year for that core. I mean, Cray is a free agent next year. Verlander's gone next year. Greinke's gone next year. So this is kind of the last kick at the can. So we'll see what they do. Who do you got in 3rd?
So as far as divisions go, I actually think this one's easier to predict just because the bottom 3 teams I think are going to be beat up on. I have the Angels here. I think it's just a 2-horse race, in my opinion, between the teams we'll talk about next. I have the Angels here. The main reason is, I mean, they do have their one really decent established closer in Iglesias, but
right.
Otherwise, their bullpen's still going to need a lot of work. There's not a lot of names you see in there. Obviously, everyone loves Mike Trout. They have, but the position players, but their bullpen bothers me. And they do have first-year manager this year, I believe.
No. They got Joe Madden.
Yeah.
See,
I was going through that. Yeah, new general manager. I was talking general manager.
Oh, general manager, new general manager, correct.
New general manager.
He's in his first year. He's in his first year, yep.
So I think in his first year, a new general manager is going to want to he's going to want to try and make a splash maybe. I don't know if with a trade later mid-season, depending where they're at. So that's what I was getting at.
The thing about I have the Angels in second because this lineup is too good not to win games. I mean, you look at this offense, man. Like they got Fletcher, Rendon, Trout, Upton if he can stay healthy. Ohtani, can Ohtani stay healthy? Ohtani's been hitting bombs in spring training. I think he's got 8 home runs this spring. So he looks really good. They got
I know we talked. I'm not an Ohtani guy when it comes on the mound, but I think he should just stop pitching. So I think him hitting those home runs and ways he's been hitting in spring training.
Well, the thing is, he's hitting 100 in spring training on the mound too. Like his arm, he looks like the kind of rookie Ohtani that we saw in a couple of years ago. I mean, he's coming off Tommy John. He didn't pitch at all last year. Dylan Bundy had a good year last year. But I mean, they got Canning, Quintana, Cobb at the back end of that rotation. I mean, established arms for sure, guys that can eat a lot of innings. But there's no, if Bundy can replicate what he did last year and Ohtani can be himself, that's probably their ace, I would imagine. But that's so much to bank on for the Angels, right? Ohtani being that ace pitcher.
Yeah, I think as normal as this season's going to be, I think Ohtani will still be a 6th man, maybe a 7th man. But when the who knows with COVID and cancellations, they're going to need all these pitchers, all hands on deck still. Who knows what happens? But once this, if it ever does end, Blake, if this ever does end and it's a regular 162 predictable season where we're not going to have any cancellations, I think then he's going to be pitching less. But this year, I think he's still going to be a lot utilization on the mound.
Right. Who do you got in second?
So I do have Houston in second.
Okay.
Which means obviously I have Oakland 1.
Yeah.
I do have Houston in second, but it's a 51-49 between these two teams. It really is to me.
Yeah, like before they signed Odorizzi, I was like, who is showing on the mound for this team? Like seriously, they lost Valdez. He broke his knuckle on his throwing hand or something. So I think he might be out for the year. So I mean, until they sign Odorizzi, I'm like, okay, behind Greinke, who the hell is this team pitching? I mean, you got McCullers, who they massively overpaid last week, $18 million a season. That was crazy to me. They got a couple of young guys, Urquidy, James. Their bullpen is okay, but this lineup is still pretty good. I agree. Like I said when I predicted the Astros finish third, it could go either way. Like the Angels could win, the Oakland could win, Houston could win. I honestly think it's wide open because of how often those teams beat up on each other. Right? I mean, they play each other 19 times a year.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. Why this division is going to be like that, because they have the two worst teams in the AL to play 19 times a year. They have guaranteed, and obviously it's not guaranteed 19 wins, Blake, but I know that. But they have a guaranteed shot at going 75-25 in those 19 games with these lower teams.
Right.
And the only reason why Houston is lower, I trust their experience, no matter what you think of the Astros as a team. I trust their experience, but Verlander being out for the whole year, really, like you said, who's going to pitch for him besides Greinke? So that's the reason why I just put him 2.
And obviously, we both have the Oakland A's winning. They just find a way every single year. At the end of the year, you go, how the hell are the Oakland A's winning the division? Like they just find a way every time. Like they don't have the sexiest lineup, they don't have the sexiest rotation, but at the end of the day, like they just plug and place guys, and they got a system over there that works. So I got them win the division.
So I don't think it's something that people count on or bet on, but with Oakland, with the Oakland A's now literally being the last team left in Oakland, I think that they get to get the bulk of the attention. They're going to get the bulk of the reporters in Oakland. They're going to get the bulk of the airtime. There's no more Raiders. Even the Golden State Warriors moved across the bridge. They went to San Francisco. There's this sense of pride with Oakland that I really love. I know they signed a few new guys we're talking about, but I just think that there's too much going good for Oakland right now to not pick them. So that's why I picked them. Like I said, it was 51-49.
It's a safe bet. It's a safe bet to go with Oakland. Let's hop over to the NL West. This is a very easy division to predict. The bottom of the cellar, you're going to have Colorado. I mean, we don't have to touch on them long, but they're due for a long rebuild. I mean, they just traded Nolan Arenado. Trevor Story's probably soon out the door. It's gonna be some dark times for some Rocky fans.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, no surprise having Colorado down in the bottom. Great, one of the ballparks I've been to. Great spot. Great game to watch. Great place to watch the game. You see the mountains.
Right.
But yeah, we're not going to spend too much time on it. I know Ian Desmond's not going to even play this year.
Yeah, I think he opted out again.
Yeah. So I don't know what you do. I don't know what you say. Colorado is a great market for a lot of sports, but it's not for baseball this year, I guess.
Right. In fourth, I got the San Francisco Giants. San Francisco, a team, got some young pieces. I think they're very similar to the Mariners. They brought in. Let me just bring it up here. I mean, they got Joey Bart, catcher, Donovan Solano. They got Yaz out and right. Like, they got some young pieces in place now. Just sprinkling some vets. I mean, but Brandon Belt, Longoria, Posey, right? They're kind of at the end of the road, and the San Francisco Giants are probably gonna move on from those guys at the end of this year. Crawford too. It'll be interesting to see what happens with them.
Where are we going next after? So now we can start talking about a little bit of the better teams.
Who do you got in fourth? You got the Giants in fourth too?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the bottom three of this division, the bottom three are not fun to look at. They're not fun to look at. No. Obviously, the next one's the D-backs.
Yep.
Not much you could say about them either. It's not like it's the worst division, but we know who gets top billing in this division, and we know the only two teams people care about. So these bottom three that are just forgotten, yes, as a fan of them, you're going to watch, you're going to go, but I don't know what you have to look forward to. San Francisco, you have more to look forward to than Arizona, even in my opinion. But
yeah, Arizona is a weird team. I mean, I don't know why they gave up on Starlin Marte so quick in that contract. They shipped him to Miami. That trade didn't really make sense from last year. You mentioned it. The top two teams of this division are take the bread, right? And second, I got the Padres. I think they're very close. I think it's going to be within 3 to 4 games of the Dodgers. Like, they are very, very close to taking over this division. But I mean, it's the Dodgers. The Dodgers are always going to go out and get that guy. I mean, you look what the Padres did. They went out and got Blake Snell, Darvish, Musgrove. The Dodgers said, "Okay, we're going to go and get Trevor Bauer."
Are you a Trevor Bauer fan? You like him?
I don't know. I used to not like Trevor Bauer, but have you ever watched his vlogs?
So I'm a Trevor Bauer fan. I'm just not a fan of the
antics are kind of tiring, I guess. But
the way it's delivered, the message is correct. The message is right. But
you follow him on Twitter?
Just the way it's delivered is not the best way. But the messages and the ideas he has are worth looking into. I just wish he did it in a dickish way, I guess.
Yeah, he's He's not afraid to speak his mind on Twitter. He often claps back at fans, which you don't really see from professional baseball players that often. But let's keep talking about the Padres here. I mean, they brought in Hugh Darvish, Blake Snell. They brought in the home run king, Hung-Soo Kim, over from the KBO. They brought in Musgrove. They brought in Keon Kella, Mark Melanson to kind of shore up that bullpen. They didn't really lose that much either. They lost Moreland, who didn't really work out there anyway, coming over from Boston. Trevor Rosenthal, who had a good year for them. Kirby Yates just had Tommy John. They lost Garrett Richards and Jason Castro. But man, this offense can mash. This offense is going to be at the top of the MLB in runs scored, home runs. Tatis is probably the most exciting player in baseball right now. So there's a lot to like about this team.
So the only reason why, I mean, not the only reason, obviously, I think just LA, they have the championship pedigree. They're ready.
Right.
San Diego, like you said, is a year or two away.
Right.
Just looking at the bullpens and looking at the starting pitching, because both teams, like you said, can mash. Well, okay, they all can hit home runs. Great. It's awesome. The starting rotation in LA is damn hard to beat.
Oh, yeah.
Damn hard. And they only have, in San Diego, they only have one left-handed starter. Blake Snell's their only left-handed starter. The rest of the guys, Musgrove, Paddock, and Lamet,
well, they got
Darvish, right-handed pitcher.
They got Mackenzie Gore coming up, who he's left-handed too. I don't know if he's going to factor in.
Well, he's going to get a six-man. If they go six-man, obviously I'm just going off the traditional, right. Everyone, baseball is a five-man start. I'm just looking at the traditional five. But if they do a six-man, for sure, it has to be a lefty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Dodgers here. We both got them in one. Let's start with the starting five, I guess. You got Kershaw, Buehler, Trevor Bauer, David Price, who didn't play at all last year. And then you still got Urias, Gonsolin, Dustin May. Like two of those guys might be in the bullpen. Like I don't know if they're gonna go a 6-man rotation. But
that's two righties, 3 lefties. That's the perfect 5-man rotation in my opinion in baseball.
And your bullpen, you got Blake Trinan, Brusdar Graterol, who throws 102 down your throat. You got Joe Kelly, who throws hard.
Obviously, Kenley Jansen.
He's had his struggles. The last couple seasons. That cutter's not really moving as much as it was in previous years. So we'll see what happens there. The biggest question is, will Bauer be worth it? I mean, they gave a lot of money. They're paying this guy $40 million this year, and he's got an option for $45 million next year. Trevor Bauer is a hell of a pitcher, but is he notable of being – or not notable?
Is he a $40 million man?
There's no way. There's no way. There's a reason why it was a 2-team race to sign him, right? I mean – no team like the Blue Jays aren't going to give Trevor Bauer $40 million a year. They're just not going to do that.
So that's when you have to talk differently when you talk about the LA Dodgers and the New York Yankees. Kind of
right.
$40 million is meh. You're what? If that's $40 million in Minnesota, who had kicked his tires a little bit, that would raise a lot more eyebrows in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
But in LA, it's LA, baby.
Yeah.
40 million. LA. That's the only thing I can say. I know it's not a scientific breakdown, but it's LA.
Yeah, they definitely are a show me the money type organization. They're like the New York Yankees, like you mentioned. They've been throwing a lot of money out. They just signed Mookie Betts to a 12-year, $400 million contract last year, $300 million.
Best player in baseball.
You think?
I think I know.
We can do a whole podcast on that. Who's the best player in baseball? I'll top over to the AL East. This is it's gonna be an interesting division for sure. At the bottom, obviously, we got the Baltimore Orioles. They got some bright spots though. I mean, they got that Mountcastle kid. What is his name? Santander over in right. He's a good run producer. Not much on the pitching side, but like the Rockies, it's gonna be a long rebuild for them too.
Poor Baltimore Orioles. I used to say in this division, poor Tampa Bay Rays, and then every once in a while you say poor Toronto Blue Jays because you have to deal with the AL East spending of the big dogs.
Yep.
Which makes a rebuild even harder. the fact that Tampa Bay is able to do what they can do in this division is amazing to me.
Yep.
I don't see how Baltimore. I don't see why they can't do it either. Obviously, stacked, storied franchise with some of the best players to ever play the game, but just
Right.
the last 5-10 years, it's just been to me.
It's been tough. It's been tough. I mean, they made the wild card in 2016 against the Blue Jays, and then they haven't made the playoffs since. So it's been a tough 5-6 years for them going on.
Mhm.
They're going to be probably bad for another 5 years if I had to guess. They got to develop those kids. Maybe.
But if you want a good feel-good story in the whole league,
Trey Mancini.
There you go. Exactly.
Yeah, he's coming off the cancer treatments. He's looked good in spring so far. Let's go over to fourth here. I got the Boston Red Sox fourth. I like the Red Sox on paper, but the pitching scares me a little bit. And we'll just kind of talk about it here. The AL East. I mean, Boston's always the king of going last to first, right? I mean, well, being a Red Sox guy, but you just look at this pitching. Like, there's no Chris Sale, right? What are you gonna have? Like, you gave Garrett Richards $10 million. Like, what is he going to give you? Erod, what's he going to be like not pitching all year last year because of COVID complications? Is Evaldi going to stay healthy? Like, the biggest question I would have is, can the Red Sox stay in it long enough for a potential Chris Sale return to matter? That would be the question I would have if I was a Red Sox fan. And I don't know if the answer is yes to that question. What do you think?
So I think it's all comes down to how Cora manages the bullpen and this pitching staff.
Right.
Because they still can – I mean, that's all we talked about was the pitching.
Right. Their offense is good. Their offense is great.
I trust in Alex Cora. I always have, always will. I think he knows what he's doing. But if the pitching staff becomes untenable, then it's going to be a longer season in Boston than most people would like. This division is it's going to be one of the best ones to watch. It's going to be one of the hardest ones to win. I think it comes down to managers in this situation. I don't like picking managers. I'm not in the field, but I think it's Cora's season. I
like the trade for Adam Ottavino. Gives him an experienced guy in that bullpen. I mean, you still got Matt Barnes in that bullpen, but the lineup, man, this Bobby Dahlback kid, I think he's the real deal. Like, I think he's a good player for them. I love the addition of Kike Hernandez. He's a guy that can play everywhere. It's going to be interesting to see. He's going to be able to get a chance to start. And with the Dodgers, he only batted against lefties, right? He was that platoon guy that really only played against lefties. So it'll be interesting to see how he does against right-handed pitching. But yeah, I love that signing. Of course, you got Devers, Bogarts, Franchi Cordero, and left. I don't know what he's going to give you. Renfroe, who's coming over from
who's gonna play center? Who's gonna play center field? Is my question.
Alex Verdugo will play center. Alex Verdugo will play center.
I think he'll get the most reps in center.
I mean, of course, you got Jim Martinez as DH, but yeah, Verdugo is the most athletic guy outfielder on the team. Like, I kind of wish they would have brought back JBJ. I mean,
yeah,
for what he got. I mean,
just fall in love with that infield, or that outfield for the last couple of years, and now that they're all gone, is
like, for what they got for Benintendi, I probably would have just held on to him. I mean, Benintendi's we talk about this on my other podcast. I mean, 2020, like, just scrap him. It's 60 games. I mean, how are you going to judge a batter after 2 months? You know what I mean?
You can't judge a pitcher off that either.
Exactly. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, Trevor Bauer, he won a Cy Young. Sure, he only had like 10 starts. I mean, let's see how he does with 33 starts or 28 starts. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way you're going to be able to replicate that. So I think it was a mistake giving away Benintendi. Well, they didn't give him away. They traded him, but they didn't get much back for him for sure. For Benny Biceps, as Red Sox love to call him.
I think that's in general. I think that's a sneaky storyline in the American League East is there's a lot of teams that in their outfield are very unset, and they're very young guys that are going to be playing. Like even in Houston, who's going to play center for the Astros? So I think it's
It'll be
to watch.
It'll be Kyle Tucker. That's probably the guy that's going to be out
probably
there.
Start opening day. Yeah.
Who do you got in fourth? I had the Red Sox. Who you got?
So unfortunately, I do have the Red Sox as well.
Okay.
I don't think it's time yet. Shane Bloom, not in the hot seat as a GM, but I think he's going to start feeling it in Boston. People feel in Boston quicker than other places.
Yeah.
So I still think it's fourth. Could they go on a run for a wild card spot? Of course, man. What they could pick up someone, overpay for someone, and go on a run. But I think it's fourth still.
Okay, in third, I got the Tampa Bay Rays. I just don't believe in their pitching. I mean, they prove me wrong every single year. But when you lose Charlie Morton and Blake Snell, and you replace him with Rich Hill, Colin McHugh, and Michael Wacha, that is a step backwards. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like sure, they're gonna score a lot of runs, but I mean, are you really banking on Chris Archer to be the Chris Archer of 2014? I think that's a lot to ask.
That's too much to ask. 100%. This podcast is we're really agreeing a lot.
Yeah,
and it's because baseball is predictable, and I don't think Archer's going to do it. I think it's
like
Rich Hill's got gray hair in his beard. I just
they just brought in a lot of like third, fourth guys to replace two aces. But
the only saving grace about that is they did use so many starting pitchers last year that if they lost two aces, but they have 8 other guys.
Well,
other guys that started a game.
Yeah, The thing is about Tampa Bay, I mean, they do it a lot different, right? I mean, they only want their pitchers to go 4 or 5 innings, turn it over to the bullpen, and that's the philosophy that they've been using. A lot of these guys that they brought in, like Glasnow, he's kind of the top dog there right now, but Yarbrough, Archer, Rich Hill, Walker, they're probably only going to pitch like 100 innings a season.
I think I'm just checking out here on Walker because I hadn't heard of him in a while. He hasn't thrown more than 180 innings since 2015. I mean,
and then they just lost Nick Anderson to the All-Star break. That's a huge blow for them. That's their closer back there. So now you're down to Pete Fairbanks and Diego Castillo to close games for you. It's a little thin, but their offense, there's a lot to like. Brian Lau, Randy Rosarena, what's he going to do in a full season? That'll be interesting to keep an eye on.
Yeah. As a Rays fan, you're used to this, and they have the most benefit of the doubt in the league, I think, in the entire major leagues. They have the most benefit of the doubt for what they do, how they do it, and the results that come from it.
Yeah.
I mean, just young guys that they're going to be working with any type of major league innings pitched, played, whatever you can think. Fleming, Honeywell Jr. hasn't even played yet. Patino's got 20 games. I mean, they have young kids that are, once again, they can advertise. They can bring you to the ballpark and watch these young kids. And in 4 or 5 years, when they're playing for all these other teams after they got traded, right?
Yeah.
Then you can be a Tampa Bay Rays fan that said, "Hey, I saw him win." That's kind of the definition of being a Rays fan is that.
It's I don't know. It'll be it's either the Blue Jays or the Rays second and third. I got the Blue Jays finishing third, and I have them taking a wild card spot. Like I am buying what the Blue Jays are selling. I'm a Blue Jays fan, maybe a tad biased.
You said Blue Jays? You said Blue Jays finished in third. You mean Blue Jays finished in second?
Blue Jays finished in second for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, you could either flip flop those Tampa Bay or Toronto. I think we both have the Yankees first, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we do. I'm not excited about it. So it's a boring pick, but just so we catch up on my rankings, I actually have Tampa Bay finishing second over Toronto. I do. I literally only do that because Toronto and their uncertainty of whether the ballparks they're playing in, all that. I just have Toronto because the extracurriculars on the side kind of stuff. That's the only reason why. Obviously, I'm going to be living in Canada now. Having moved to Vancouver, I'm going to be watching a heck of a lot of Toronto games. I have their spring training game against the Phillies. I have it on in the background right now.
What's the score?
It's on commercial break. I just looked up. But just looking at this is almost basically their opening day lineup. This is their obviously last spring training game.
outside of Springer, right? So.
Yeah, outside of Springer, the lineup does look good. It's a lineup as a Blue Jays fan. I would see those starting 9, and I would be happy with it.
Pretty good.
I think Tampa finds a way to be second. That's all. No difference. It's going to be a great season for Toronto and Tampa for a run, but
right.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be the breakout year for Vlad Jr. I do. I think the way that this guy's been hitting in the spring, he's hit over 500 in the spring. He's hit the ball hard again. So
he lost weight.
He's lost 40 pounds.
40 pounds.
You look at the lineup though, like it's like top to bottom. This lineup's pretty balanced. I mean, you got
Simeon, Biggio, Bichette.
Yeah,
I mean Hernandez,
Gurriel Jr.
Jansen is not a bad catcher at all these last couple years.
And Kirk too. He just made the team out of camp, so there's a lot to like. Obviously, a little bit light on starting pitching outside of Ryu. Ray is gonna miss a start.
Ryu looked good the other day. I watched his last spring training start. He looked fine. He was just working on some stuff, so it only went a few innings, but he looks good. Yeah.
Matz, he's had a sparkling spring. He's been really good. Stripling's look good. Roark. If you know me, I'm not a Roark guy. Never have been. But yeah, Pearson's going to start the year on the DL, so that's a little bit of tough break. And obviously, we mentioned they lost Kirby Yates to Tommy John, so a lot of pressure on that bullpen. They kind of brought him in to kind of shore up that back end, but yeah, the Blue Jays are playing in pouring rain right now. That's not ideal.
They just started. They're losing 6-2. Oh well.
Yeah, who cares? So obviously we have the Yankees in first.
Yankees course. All about health. That's the word. That's the only word that matters.
Aaron Judge.
Health.
Well, and they already lost Luke Voigt.
Did.
He had a partial tear in his meniscus. That's a big blow for them. Another big question is Corey Kluber. What's he going to give you? He's pitched one inning the last 2 seasons. So the other
guy they need to worry about taking innings away from Cole, or not taking away, but eating some innings. Jameson, Italian.
Yeah, Tyon.
Tyon, there you go. Yep. He's another guy that you should look out for to see how many innings he actually does take this year. And obviously, Kluber being healthy is important. I don't know what it is about the media and the writers of all the stuff I read. I actually saw on a list of sleepers that someone put Stanton on a list of sleepers, and I kind of laughed at that. But of course he's a sleeper because he's always hurt, so you never know what you're going to get with him.
Yeah.
So, but obviously Carlos Stanton is one of the best hitters, in the game whenever he's healthy. But he was on a list of sleepers, so I just had a chuckle at that. I said he's a $125 million sleeper, I guess.
Yeah. Judge, another guy who needs to stay healthy for them. Aaron Hicks, another guy that's been injury prone for the Yankees in center field. So, what are they going to do with Gary Sanchez? I mean, that's a question I have for you. This guy, to me, he's a DH. He's not good behind the plate. I was surprised that they didn't go out and get they went out and got Robinson Chirinos, who's a decent catcher. They got Agao Shioka, who played a lot last year, but Gary Sanchez is not good behind the dish.
I did also read he started blaming coaches. He started blaming everyone but himself.
Yeah.
For obviously his play, not good.
No.
Last year, if he can, just like in golf, baseball is most like golf, I think, because you have to forget the last anything. You have to forget the last anything in baseball.
Right.
Yeah. So if he can just forget the last year, just concentrate on, what he's supposed to do on a day-to-day basis and not worry about New York media, not worry about what his coaches are saying, not worrying about anything, he'll be better. I do trust him more to be in the lineup and be a contributor than I do Aaron Judge. I think Judge is an injury-prone player. that is just not reliable at all, in my opinion.
Right. So that'll be it for the East. Let's hop, or AL East. Let's hop over to the NL East. In 5, I got the Miami Marlins, a surprise playoff team last year. In a shortened season, really anything can happen, right? So, yeah, I got them in the bottom.
So I have them in the bottom too, but I will say one thing for Miami and one thing for this division in general. I think this is the best
division in baseball, 100%.
100%. It's not even close. I just, I pull up. I don't do a lot of betting, but I do pull up Vegas odds because people in Vegas know what the heck they're talking about.
Right.
Just looking at this division, they got a 3-4-6-8. 3-4-6-8. That's what they have when it comes to this. So a third place Braves, a fourth place Mets, a sixth. Like, they love this division. They think it's the one to bet on, and it's going to be the fun one to watch. But Miami just suffers from being in this division. I think Miami is not a great team, but I think they're a better team than you think.
Mm-hmm.
Fans-wise, in the building, not in the building, the stadium, whatever you want to make fun of them for changing their uniform colors all the time, they are better than you think, and they're worth going to the ballpark to watch.
Right. In 4th, I got the Philadelphia Phillies. They just they didn't really do anything this offseason. They didn't get better. I mean, I think they're a pretty similar team. I mean, they made a couple trades to shore up that pen. They brought in Archie Bradley and blanking right now. The guy Jose Alvarado from Tampa Bay, the lefty there. But they brought back Real Muto, I guess. But what's going on with your lighting here?
Well, the sun is moving, so I think it's
You're going dark on me.
Uh-oh.
I got Phillies in 4th. Who do you got?
I also have. I mean, like I said, we're going to be the same on a lot of these. I do have Philly in the 4th spot as well.
Right.
Love Philly, like you mentioned. Alvarado. There are other pitchers, Chase Anderson. They got Archie Bradley. He's young. Connor Brogdon. These guys, I mean, they go pretty good right-handed, left-handed, and they go pretty young. They skew young, so I think they're going to be better coming up in the future years on the mound.
Right.
But I don't think it happens this year.
Right.
A lot of 24 and 26-year-olds that still got to learn how to pitch in this league.
Yeah. The top 3, I mean – I think 1 we'll agree on, but 3, I got the New York Mets. I think they did a lot of good things in this offseason. They're starting to spend more money. They brought in Lindor, right? They brought in who else they bring in? Let me look here. Let me look here quick. AL East. Taiwan Walker, James McCann, Trevor May. Like, they brought in some guys. They're starting pitching. Obviously, you got DeGrom, Stroman, Carlos Carrasco is going to start on the shelf to start. But yeah, this team it's on the right track, but I don't think they're there quite yet.
So I actually think that the Mets have done more than you. So I don't have them at 3rd. I actually have the Mets above. I have Washington right here in this spot.
Okay.
I think the Mets have done more than enough to warrant a 2nd place spot. So I put the Nationals here.
I just have a feeling like the Mets are just gonna find a way to not like finish 2nd. You know what I mean? Like, in the past, they've had good teams, but they don't really show it on the field, right? So they gotta prove it to me. I'm gonna pick them 3rd. They gotta prove it to me right now.
So I think that I only have Washington lower because their bullpen needs – not their bullpen, their pitching staff in general. The rotation needs to come back from what it did last year. My favorite pitcher in the league is Max Scherzer. He's appointment viewing. I absolutely love what he's doing.
Right.
But I think the rest of the staff kind of had a down year. So I don't think they're going to come back right away.
This staff is really good, though. I mean,
yeah.
they got your boy John Lester in the fold now too.
Johnny Lester. As they say in Boston, Johnny Lester.
So they got Scherzer, Strasburg, Corbin, Lester, Joe Ross in that rotation. They brought in Brad Hand. Daniel Hudson's still there. Will Harris is still there. I mean, Juan Soto is probably the best player in the game right now, honestly.
You want Gold Glove? I don't know. Gold Glove, right field.
Like this guy,
I love Mookie. I love Mookie Betts as
this
a
guy
defender,
is
but I love
probably the best hitter in the game right now, hands down. There's an argument. There's an argument there for sure. But this lineup, they brought in Schwarber. Can Keyboom take that next step? They brought in Josh Bell. Can he have a bounce back season? I really like this lineup a lot. Like Soto, Turner, Keyboom, Josh Bell, Schwarber
from Chicago.
They're gonna be good. Like this. I mean, you picked him to finish third. I picked him to finish second. Call me crazy. This division could have 2 playoff teams. If the Padres stumble and don't make the playoffs, I think there could be 3 playoff teams from this division.
I don't think you're wrong on it, but I just want to get back to when you say best hitter in the game. I just want to make sure that Ronald Acuna knows that I pick him over Soto. I don't know if Acuna is the best hitter in the game, but I still won't let disrespect for Ronald Acuna come too much. But I do have, like I said, not as much faith in the rotation of the Washington Nationals as much.
Okay. So you got obviously the Mets in second. We both have the Braves finishing first, and this team was 1 win away from the World Series last year. They lost Game 7 to the Dodgers. They actually had them on the ropes, and they had them on the ropes 3-2. Chance to put them away in Game 6 last year, and they kind of let the Dodgers back in it. But this team, can they get over that hump? Right, that's the biggest question. Everybody knows what they got. They got Freeman, Albies, Austin Riley, Swanson. They brought back Marcell Ozuna. You got Christian Pache in center. You got Ronald Acuna in right. I mean, this team is loaded. This team's loaded. And then they just brought in Charlie Morton to help out that rotation. 1 year, $15 million deal. Max Fried, Soroka's coming off of torn Achilles. So, and then Ian Anderson, he dazzled in the playoffs too. So
Kyle Wright, Bryce Wilson.
Yeah, like this team,
young guys
legit.
The young guys getting actual experience in major league games that aren't meaningless, let's say. Yeah. Getting actual experience down the stretch for a pennant team. Right. Youngsters, Anderson, Wright, Wilson, those 3 guys. Unbelievable that they got the experience that they got, and I think it only benefits. The only spot I think that is less for Atlanta this year. I think Freeman had an amazing year last year. I don't think he repeats it, but I don't think it matters.
Right.
I really don't. Freeman was almost MVP candidate.
He was MVP. He did win the MVP.
Yeah. So I don't think he does it again, but that's the only time it comes down for me. And the rest of the team is still on the up.
Okay, let's go over to the AL Central. Of course, this is a division that's notorious for rebuilding. You've had Detroit. Cleveland's about to probably go through a rebuild here soon. Kansas City's retooling. We don't have to go over this division, the bottom of the division, too much. Obviously, we have Detroit in 5th, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We might disagree on this pick, but in 4th, I got the Cleveland Indians.
Whew.
I just
think ballsy.
It is a ball. Like they're just like, I feel like they're just going to be sellers, right? And then obviously once you sell pieces, you're going to lose more games. So that's where I'm coming from. I think like I got like Eddie Rosario is going to be flipped at the deadline. Maybe Jose Ramirez gets moved. I don't know, but yeah, I got Cleveland 4th.
Bold. That's your first bold one of the day.
Yeah,
it really is. I don't have Cleveland 4th. Obviously, I have Kansas City 4th.
Yeah.
Not much I can really say. This is a division that I grew up watching. This is a division I know the most about. When I lived obviously in Minnesota, you get nothing but Twins games.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of Twins Cleveland. You get a lot of Twins White Sox. So I do like this division, and I pay attention to it a lot.
Yeah.
Am I scared of any team in this division if I'm another team in the American League? I don't think I'm necessarily scared, especially with the White Sox losing Jimenez for 4 or 5 months. That makes it a little easier. His left fielder, I don't think he's going to be there for 5 months, they said?
Yeah, 5-6 months, yeah.
So I got the Royals there. No team in this division scares me, but it'll be a fun division to watch still. No doubt.
Yeah. I got the Royals in third. I really like their offseason. They brought in Benintendi. They brought in Carlos Santana. I really like some of the pieces that they brought in. So let me just bring it up here, just for the listeners here. They brought back like Wade Davis, Greg Holland, kind of looking for some magic in the bottle there. Michael A. Taylor, guy can play good defense. Hanser Alberto, a surprise non-tender by the Orioles. They brought him into the fold. They still got Jorge Soler, Whit Merrifield. Alberto Mondesi's good. They just locked up Salvi Perez. This team I think is going to surprise some teams. I don't have them as a playoff team, but they're going to be a team soon on the rise for sure. So
this was the hardest division for me to pick. The hardest one. I had flip-flop. I got all these arrows going up and down, up and down, up and down on my notes because I don't know. I had Minnesota third, but then I looked at their pitching and Pineda's back from suspension. They got Barrios, Kent Maeda. I mean, they got pitchers in Minnesota. So I put Minnesota second. I moved them up. I have Cleveland third.
Okay. Yeah, I got Minnesota second too. Can Donaldson stay healthy for once, man? Please. Man,
can Minnesota make a splash?
This guy was so electric to watch on the Blue Jays in 2015 where he won his MVP. He stayed healthy the whole season. He was just knocking balls out of the ballpark left and right. But man, this guy, he was hurt in last year's playoffs. Like this guy, I don't know, man. His body's just failing on him.
Yeah, it's maybe the change of scenery helps. I guess I don't know what happens, but yeah.
So obviously we both have the White Sox finishing first, and this team is very good.
They're good, but
this team. Look at their rotation.
I hope the hype train doesn't get them. The injuries don't get them because they've been the last couple of years. They've been the San Diego Chargers of the Major League Baseball world, where everyone loves the Chargers in the NFL. Oh, look out, they're coming. Chargers never came.
Yeah.
I want the White Sox. I love, the team in the South Side of Chicago. They're not the favorite. I don't know.
Giolito, Lance Lynn, Dallas Keuchel is your top three arms. I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah, 100%. Giolito, I think sneaky. Obviously, if we're going to talk about it later, I think Giolito is a sneaky Cy Young contender.
Yep.
I like him. He's got to do a little bit better in his right to lefty splits. When I kind of dove into him for picking a Cy Young, he needs to work on pitching to lefties a little better. But
right. I like what they did. They brought in Liam Hendricks. He's been the best closer in baseball the last couple seasons. You still got Aaron Bummer down there. Is Kopech going to start? Is he going to be in the bullpen? But I mean, you look at this lineup, man. Grandal, Abreu, Moncada, Tim Anderson, obviously Eloy, like you mentioned, is hurt. You got Luis Robert out there, Andrew Vaughn, who is 21 years old. He's probably going to crack the team out of camp. I got the White Sox winning. You got the White Sox winning. Let's hop over that.
But it's going to be closer than you think. I think these top three teams are going to battle.
You think the Twins could push them?
I think Twins definitely could push them one more year. Next year, I think the Twins are kind of their window's starting to close a little bit. They're going to lose some of their hitters, but
yeah,
I think with that pitching staffs, they're going to battle each other, man. They really are.
Yeah. The Indians are going to have to win a lot of close games with that. Like Bieber, I mean, they're gonna win a lot of close games because
Shane Bieber,
yeah, they're not gonna score a lot of runs, I don't think.
No.
So let's hop over to the NL Central. This is the last division we're gonna predict, and then we'll hop into some MVP picks and some Cy Young picks before we wrap up the episode. So In the bottom, we both said we got Pittsburgh. This is a no-brainer. This division was honestly probably one of the easiest to predict for me.
Also one of the it's one of the worst divisions in baseball.
It's like, I mean, you got the Cubs. I got them in fourth. The Cubs they just don't have enough punch, and this team could go south in a hurry. It could be going for a long rebuild. I mean, Chris Bryant could be out the door, Rizzo could be out the door, Contreras could be out the door, and Baez could be out the door. All those guys are free agents next year. So
Chris Bryant's been out the door on people's trade blocks for years. I think Chris Bryant's gonna have a good year. I have the Reds fourth. I have the Cubs at third. I think Chris Bryant comes back a little bit to his more MVP style contention play. I really do. I think he's got it in him.
Yep. Okay. I got Cincinnati in third. Like, Cincinnati's a team where, like, what's this team's direction? I mean, last year, they scored a lot of runs, but they didn't score any runs in the playoffs, right? I mean, they had Bauer throwing gems for them last year. So I think this team's still good enough to be a top 3 team in this division. Obviously, yeah, this division, we pretty much had the same. I had the Milwaukee Brewers in second.
Yeah, well, we have the Cubs and Reds flipped.
Yeah.
Each one of us. But, yeah, Brewers in second. But overall in the National League picture, the Brewers are still not a pennant contender, in my opinion.
No. There's only one pennant contender, and that's the Cardinals, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. St. Louis obviously is one. And I will be honest with all the listeners, if there's 10 of you or 100 of you or 1,000 of you, I have never liked the Cardinals. I never will like the Cardinals. So it's my one hated team. Not a Cardinals guy, but they're going to win this division.
The Cardinals are good. I mean, they went out and got the big fish. I mean, they went out and got Nolan Arenado for pennies on the dollar, I should say. They didn't really give up anything. So that was a little crazy. But you look at the rest of this lineup, man, like they have a lot of good pieces. Tommy Edman, Paul Goldschmidt, Paul DeYoung, Dylan Carlson. I mean, their outfield could use a little bit of work. They got Tyler O'Neill and Harrison Bader out there. So, I don't know. Their starting pitching's pretty good too. Flaherty, Mikolas, brought back Wainwright, Hong Hoon Kim, who was a good lefty last year. And obviously you got Alex Reyes coming back. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Let's hop over to the fun part of the show. We're going to predict some.
Wait, this last part wasn't fun?
Oh, no, it was fun. This part's more fun. Okay. AL MVP, who do you got?
Let me flip my page. So I don't think it's going to be Trout. I know Trout is a popular pick.
Right.
I'm just going to go. I had a hard time with it. Who do you got?
I got Trout.
You got Trout.
I got Trout.
I know. I think it's going to be whoever stays the healthiest on the Yankees, and the Yankees go for a run. Whoever stays the healthiest.
Do not say Aaron Judge. Don't do it.
I don't like him if he stays healthy.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Who is your real pick? Who did you write down on your list?
No. I'm going to go. I think Stanton's going to play all year. I think it's going to be Stanton.
Bold take. Bold takes here. We're going to change the show to bold takes.
Bold take.
Damn. All right. Who do you got in the NL? Who's your MVP in the NL?
So in the NL, I'm going Mookie, my favorite player in the league, man. My favorite player in the league. I think Mookie does it. I love him. I think LA is the perfect spot for him. I think he's a healthy player. I love Mookie Betts so much. I love the way he plays.
Yeah, so Mookie. You didn't really go
chalk. I went off board on the AL. I'll stay on the NL.
Okay, for that MVP, I got Juan Soto. I think he's going to take over that. Yeah, you went way off the board your AL, but you came back down to earth on your AL.
I had
so
to.
That's good.
That's
good.
To.
Okay, who do you got for your top 3 Cy Youngs in the AL?
AL, you said?
Yeah.
So I think Ryu is going to be a top 3. I really do. I think that's my one bold take. I mean, but he's He's a 5th, 6th pick in a lot of people's lists. I think he's going to be
Right.
top 3. So I'm going to go Ryu, Bieber, Cole.
Yep. I got who do you got as a sleeper if you had to pick one?
Sleeper pitcher or player in general?
Pitcher for the Cy Young.
Well, it's Glasnow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Glasnow's good. Okay, so for me, I got 3. I got Giolito. 2, I got Shane Bieber. 1, I got Garrett Cole winning the Cy Young. And if I had to pick a sleeper, Jesus Luzardo from
Oakland.
the Oakland A's. I think he's a sleeper lefty. I think he's gonna be a good pitcher for them. Who do you have winning the Cy Young? You have Garrett Cole or Bieber? Who do you got?
I'm not picking another Yankee, so I'm picking Bieber. I picked a 1 Yankee already, man. I gave my bold take. I got Bieber.
Oh man. Okay, let's hop over to the NL. Who do you got as your top 3?
So, love Walker Buehler in the top 3 role.
Yeah.
You obviously have to put Scherzer just because the guy is a freak, and then DeGrom once again for the Mets.
Who's a sleeper for you for a Cy Young in the NL?
Darvish. I like what San Diego's doing. I think Darvish comes as a sleeper. I really do.
For my top 3, I got 3rd, I got Scherzer. 2, I got Jack Flaherty.
Okay, Cardinals.
And obviously 1, you got DeGrom, right? He's probably going to win the Cy Young. My sleeper pick for the NL Cy Young, drum roll, please, David Price.
Oh.
David Price.
Okay.
Guy who didn't pitch at all last year. Going to have a little chip on his shoulder probably. I think he's going to have a great season for them.
David Price at 7,000. It's plus 7,000 odds in Vegas. Put the money down. Put the money down. I think he's a little too old, but that's not a bad pick.
Not a bad pick, yeah. So that'll do it for our inaugural episode of the Pucks and Pine Tar. That went pretty good. This one probably ran a little longer than we would have thought, but always love talking baseball and hockey with you, man.
Yeah, man. I hope you guys love listening. Let us know what you think. I had a great time doing it, and we'll be back next week.
And just let the listeners know, we are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're on Google Podcasts now, and of course, we're on YouTube. So if you give us a subscribe on YouTube, a subscribe on iTunes and Spotify, we'd appreciate that, guys. Take care and thanks for listening.